And so it's really, unfortunately, up to us to fight back against this erosion of the attention marketplace, because our attention is one of the most powerful things we have. It's one of the greatest gifts you can give a person, your full, complete attention. It's rare. So what's another example? An example I use of intentional friction is a very visual one with paper towels. So if you, let's say you use too many paper towels, right? Because you wash your hands, you reach over and just grab a paper towel, dry off your hands, and you're like, no, I really need to use the cloth towel, right? Not waste so many. So what you do is you take a rubber band, put it over the top of the paper towel, roll, so that after you wash your hands, you reach over, grab a paper towel, you try to grab one, and there's a rubber band on it. So you can't. So then you have to take the rubber band off, right? Then grab one, and it basically reprograms how you grab a paper towel. It forces you to think about it and want it badly enough to take the thing off, right? Okay. So it's applying that fundamental difficulty, that friction, to everything else. So it's moving your Facebook app into a folder where your brain doesn't know where it is. Yeah. Because most people I know that have the Facebook app can open it without even looking.
Yeah, that's me, yeah.
Yeah, your brain knows where it is.
Yeah.
And because humans are lazy. Yeah. In the best sense of the word, it's a survival thing, right? We become incredibly lazy, and our brains want to be as efficient as possible. So once it knows where the app is, it just goes, oh, it's there. Don't need to think about it. Boom. It becomes muscle memory. So creating friction means deleting the app. It means moving it into a place where you have just a split second to think about if you're really, yes.
Yeah, for example, for Facebook, it says one thing about technology that works very well, but in this case works too well. Like I just need to open Chrome and type F, and auto completes to Facebook, and then enter. And I mean, sometimes it's beautiful, but for this, it's like, again, I need to unteach this mechanism from Chrome and just make sure that I don't even get there. And making sure that our focus is in identifying these twitches, these moments of weakness, let's say, to make sure that we at least know about them, are aware, and then putting in place barriers to stop them. Okay. So one of the things that I really found that helped me is I started journaling. So I stepped back from a place of digital, and I just went full analog. And for I don't know, whatever I need to write my thoughts, I just write them down. And I felt that is building that muscle of at least focusing for brief minutes to just a place where I know that there's no distractions. And I notice that I'm tending to go there more and more often, to that place of calm, of not chaos, of everything that is controlled there, and there's no ads, no banner ads, no notifications, and it's really, really working wonders. And I'm wondering if you also adapting more of these analog systems to counteract those digital distractions.
Yeah, I think that's a great practice of just journaling. I think a big, really important thing is a physical. Like typing is, it's a tactile experience, I think, is stimulating in the right kind of way. So that's like pencil on paper or whatever. I think it's really important to note that technology is amazing, right? I don't get because of Google Maps on my smartphone, I don't get lost. I don't get lost ever, right? Yeah. I have a terrible sense of direction, and Google Maps has changed my life. I love technology. It's simply, like you just mentioned, an awareness of when I write in a notepad, I don't have pop-ups. It reduces the chance of a pop-up to zero, right?
For now.
And for now. And we need that. We need those spaces. So for me, I stopped listening to podcasts while I mow the lawn. That's a big one. I stopped listening to music every time I drive because our brains are just so powerful. I believe that everyone has an innate creativity within them. No matter how they think, whether you're a technical person or a creative person or whatever it is, we have these amazing abilities to process, to come up with new ideas and combine the thoughts, but we're never giving ourselves a chance to even get there because it doesn't happen right away. It doesn't happen in 2 seconds. It happens 20 minutes in to just an uncomfortable silence when you're mowing the lawn and, your brain is just sort of going, or you're washing the dishes and stuff. And we're allowing our brains to sort of just process some of the stuff that's going on in our lives and questioning things. And so that's the big thing for me is realizing that, man, we need at least like an hour a day of time where we don't have new information coming at us, at least audio visual information, which is why I just love I don't know if you look at like Buddhist monks that have intentional like meditative work practices. As part of the daily chores, they are, like sweeping the steps, working the garden, working with their hands. And I can't help but think there's something to it, meditation doesn't have to look just like, it can be in many different aspects of our lives. And so the Twitch robs us of that. It soaks up those moments like a sponge. And that's why I think, technology is amazing. It's doing amazing things. Medicine, tech, like we're evolving at a just incredible rate because of technology. But just because a new technology comes out, I think we should not doesn't mean we should just adopt it and take it on as like, oh, well, this is the new thing and we're going to use this. I think we just forever are going to have to be a little discerning about how we implement it and to actually make sure we're better off because of it, each one. Yeah.
I definitely feel that when something comes out new and you want to be part of it, and it's like a fear of missing out, especially on social media. And mainly I use social media to promote my stuff, my content. And I've been consuming a lot of content, for example, I don't know if you know Gary Vaynerchuk.
Very familiar, yeah.
And he also says like, do everything, do podcasts, do video, do blog posts, do everything, be everywhere. But it's just kind of nice if you have a big team like he does, but if you are just one and you need to actually focus on the content, you cannot really just divide your time in all these different applications, and you cannot do anything if you don't have a good product, right? And it's just focusing on those things that are important, and probably Twitter is not very important, and probably it's better off just making something that you really feel that you are passing your message. And to do that, I think you need really deep work, let's call it like that.
Absolutely. And the funny thing about that is, to me, the platform doesn't matter. If the platform is Twitter, but you craft an amazing, the best 1 minute video that you can that talks about the subject you care about, and you put deep work into that platform, then it works. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't, it's not like Twitter is bad. It's not like Facebook is bad. No, we can use each of these things. And I would, exactly like you said, resonate a very opposite message of Gary Vaynerchuk. I love what he does. I think he carries an essence to him that I really like, and find a little grating, Yeah. But I would give a very opposite to any entrepreneur out there that's starting out, that's trying to build a following on YouTube, Twitter, whatever. I would pick one and knock it out of the park. Because then you can transfer, once you have an audience in one place, you can transfer them to other places. If you have a Facebook page, you can drive them to your Twitter, but you need to build one and do good work instead of being everywhere all the time. I think he doesn't necessarily give the best advice, but then again, he's a lot more well-known than I am. So maybe listen to him. I don't know.
No, I definitely understand. I mean, I do feel like what he says makes sense, but if you are just one guy just trying to get your message out, you kind of need to focus on the message. And I guess it's the most important thing. It's complicated. Just like breaking the twitch.
Exactly.
I've been thinking about breaking the twitch or content consumption more like a diet, you know. Like instead of we just eating whatever we want, at least making sure that we know what we shouldn't eat, or at least sometimes make like a cheat day, you know, where you can have whatever you want, but it's just to make sure that you're not going to overeat the next days. So it's kind of treating it like that, and a little bit, so bringing it now to minimalism. So making sure that we have less so that we can do more. And I want your idea or your opinion about going through that process of just getting to the point where, okay, enough of the stuff that I'm consuming. Let's just get rid of some stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think minimalism as a sort of lens with which to view the world is a very practical, very reasonable thing for just about everyone on Earth. I will say that minimalism as it is, in terms of the context of like, get rid of your stuff, it'll make you happy, is a very privileged, very kind of not super helpful perspective. But I do think that everyone can look at their lives through a lens of promoting. My friend Joshua Becker has, to me, the best definition of all this from becomingminimalist.com. And he says, minimalism is the intentional promotion of that which we most value and the removal of everything that distracts us from it. And under that definition, who wouldn't want to be a minimalist?
Yeah.
Like if you're into cars and you love BMWs, like buy a BMW and then remove the things that get in the way. If you have other stuff like cluttering up your house or financial drains that are affecting you, like if buying a BMW and driving it to work every day is going to bring you joy, do that and get rid of the things that prevent you from doing that, right? That is essentially it. Like within that context, it sounds silly, but yeah, that's the idea. And I think it's really overdrawn a lot of the time. People are like, what? Minimalism? You just have 3 shirts? That's dumb. I'm like, no, I have 10 shirts because it's just, I don't care about clothing that much. Yeah. And it's sort of just, I don't know. I don't have to think about it. So it's a nice ad. Anyway.
So each person will have their own definition of what they consider to be, okay, this is the minimal things that I need, and that's for me, it doesn't need to be for you. So if you want to have 20 houses and you feel like that's good and you need that, that's it. Do you.
Exactly. If you have 20 houses and you're massively in debt, you're stressed out, your family is breaking apart, and your business is, whatever, and you have anxiety, then think about it and do something about it. But if you have 20 houses, you are comfortable financially, you have friends that love staying at your places and it brings you joy to have a place for your friends to stay whenever they visit all the cities, across the world that you have houses in.
Yeah.
Like, heck yeah, man. That's incredible. It's serving you and the people you love, and that's what matters. Yeah.
When did you start that process of, or at least thinking about it that way? Like, did you always have like a clear sense of the things you really needed, or was it like, okay, now I need to do something about this?
it's all a journey every day. And as life goes, you discover new things about how your needs and your desires change. The assets that we have for in my own life. I mean, when we started getting rid of stuff, it was just like cables and extraneous just purses and things that were sitting on the shelves that we weren't using. I had too much clothes. I had 20 dress shirts or something. Like why? And I worked at a bike company at the time, and it was like a nonprofit, super low key. No one wore dress shirts. So it's like, okay, so these were serving me in a time in the past, and they are no longer. So I started getting rid of them. And what I discovered is that it was actually the act of choosing. It was the act of deciding what was not the right thing in my life that helped me figure out what was the right thing. It wasn't that I knew what I wanted exactly or knew my purpose. But I would say over the last 3 years of embracing a minimalist philosophy, that I have more than ever discovered what it is that I'm meant to do in this world, and like in where I want to be spending my time and working in my sort of area of genius, if you know what I mean, like because I have a lot of shortcomings. I have a lot of struggles that I have that are weaknesses, just like we all have strengths, we all have weaknesses. And minimalism sort of allows you to help shed light on those things and accommodate for them, because all of a sudden it's like you strip away the things that are distracting you, that are constantly pulling your attention away, not giving you meaningful time to process, to think about this stuff. And all of a sudden you're left, it's kind of painful at first, but you're left with you. When you get rid of the other stuff, the logos on our shirt, the things we use to define ourselves, if we let go of that and remove the value and importance of it, all of a sudden we're just left with us. And that is painful at first, but then you learn to grow, and you learn to sort of explore within your own power. And I know that's like, you don't get there right away from, let me get rid of 10 shirts. Like, I declutter my basement, get rid of some boxes. Like, it doesn't see the connection is hard to make, but it goes there. It gets there over time. And it's been one of the most valuable things I've ever done over the last 3 years, just consistently having a mindset of, do we need this? Would it serve someone else better than me? Is this aligned with what I want my life to look like? And that's a big question. But if you ask yourself that a little bit at a time, each day, things start to line up. The shirts go away, that you don't want, the distractions, social media, things that don't add to your life in a way that you thought it did, go away, and little bit by little bit, the blog gets bigger. The YouTube channel gets bigger. The work you do starts getting seen, and sort of it feels like, okay, this is serving my values. It's serving what I believe. I want to help others with this. I want to share my own experience in a way that helps people do this. And there are a lot of things that don't help me do that, right? Like scrolling through Twitter with no real purpose. It's not helping me do that. So I just find that the more I've removed, the more deeply I feel my sense of purpose and what I want. And the more that I just actively choose to explore this, the better things seem to get. So I couldn't possibly advocate more for it. And the fact that you don't need to just get rid of everything you own to be happy. That's not the equation. It's more of like, realign the things in your life so that they match up with what you actually want. Yeah.
So do you use more of the getting rid of stuff more like a proxy, more like a way for people to kind of switch their minds, and eventually they'll get to that point, that state of mind where they not just getting rid of physical stuff, but also thinking about life in a more meaningful way?
The decluttering is a doorway.
Okay.
Minimalism to me is simply a doorway. It's a step to self-discovery, to deeper purpose. It's fun. It feels good to kind of donate a bunch of clothing or donate things that are nice for other people. And